I guess honestly, like finding that like super fire sample and you're just like, oh, this is gonna be tight, and then you're like, that smile cracks on my face and I'm like stoked to like make a beat or whatever. Or like, but playing shows too, that's really fun. You know, because it's kind of like in my room, me being a creep, like on the computer in the dark all day, and then being able to like put it out there, play a show, hear other people's response, and like, you know, connect with other people, and like everyone's like smiling and having fun. That's like really fun part about it. Yo, what's up? My name's Richard. I'm a producer from the San Francisco Bay Area, making crazy hip-hop, funk, disco beats. One of my friends, Don Goldman, was making music, and for a while I didn't know it was him. And then one day I found out he had fooled me, and I was like, oh shit, that was you. I'd been following you on like SoundCloud or whatever, like listening to your music. So then I was like, I'm gonna get back at him. And then I made this alias, Richard, and I was just trying to think of like the most ridiculous, like kind of generic name. So I went with that, and then I had him fooled for like a couple weeks. I don't know, yeah. That's how it came to me. I mean, like, if you look at the stuff I sample, like 80s, like funk shit, or like R&B, so I mean, like everyone kind of samples that, whatever. But my mom, that's like kind of music she loves, and like she'd always be playing me music when I was little. So I think that's probably, just off the top of my head, probably the biggest influence in my music. Be maybe that. And then my brother, he was always listening to like, you know, he's a lot older than me. So when I was little, he was always listening to like 90s rap shit, and like, definitely always listened to that. And then the like house music too. He was a house DJ for a while. Or I'd be little and I'd just go in his room and he'd be like mixing shit, and I was just like loving it, like all the like French house shit, like Daft Punk, all that kind of stuff was tight, you know. And at first the Richard stuff, I don't know if you listen to like the first tape or the second one, the first two I put out, it's like more straight hip hop or like weird like lo-fi, whatever, like all that like SP Forms influences shit and the Don Goldman influence. But then it was kind of like the third one, the third tape, that one came out like beginning 2013. I think that's when like kind of touches a lot more with like the disco vibes and shit like that, kind of like dance music type shit, you know. So for a while I was just making the straight hip hop, and then like I kept wanting to make like, you know, the house music or stuff with house music influences, and like, you know, I kind of realized I was, by splitting it up, I was kind of making a barrier for myself. And then kind of, I feel like definitely with the last tape, with tape 4, I was kind of had this synthesis of maybe bringing the two styles together and not caring so much about like, oh, this doesn't sound as much like straight hip hop anymore. This doesn't sound like, you know, straight like dance music or disco. Just kind of do whatever I felt sounded right, you know, so I could kind of make the music that would please me the most while I'm making it.
Yeah, I mean, stuff that helped me, I guess, progress word use like would be just so much information out there online, which that's something that was really great. You know, you could just, I didn't have to find some specific person, you know, I could just be some random kid in my room, and the internet, there's just people out there sharing information, you know, who want to help people make better music and just connect and all that kind of stuff. So that was one of the ways that I've been able to, you know, I guess maybe learn more and like give me the opportunity to make my music sound how I want it to. So pretty much what I use, like, pretty much just me, my laptop, MIDI controller. It's pretty much all contained inside the computer. I just like having that simple setup because it allows me to be more mobile stuff. You know, kind of can make beats wherever I want to, you know, if it's at a homie's house or something like that. Just put on my headphones, do it, yeah.
Wonderful.
Being mobile is probably a really big thing, and just being able to easy setup, like, you know, if I just instantly feel like I want to make music or I feel inspired, I can just open up my laptop, fucking open up my program or whatever, and just start making beats, rather than having maybe some more complex setup where I gotta, especially because I don't have the space. Maybe if I had a studio, you know, that'd be great if I could have some huge setup with all the crazy stuff I could ever dream of, but, you know, right now, the more stuff kind of might slow down my process to make it almost hinder it. I don't know. When I start making a beat, just like find a sample, I'll listen to it, you know, if I'm doing chops, maybe find some like tight stabs, and then just kind of jam out and just record the whole thing with the sample, and then make a couple sick patterns I like, you know, put on some drums on top of it. It's not too complex, you know, because I'm just working with samples and stuff, and I'm more about just finding that like tight loop or something like that. The drums take the most time always, especially when you're working with samples. You can't just use whatever sound you like, you know what I mean? You gotta find something that fits, or at least for me, I'm trying to find something that almost fits, like it almost sounds like it was part of the sample originally, you know, and keep with a similar vibe. I don't know, my sound could go anywhere. I don't know, I've seen it change so much in like the past, like maybe like 3 years, going from like different aliases and then like focusing my time on another one and stuff like that. Like go back to making like straight synth music or something like that, like ditch the samples altogether. I don't know, we'll see where it goes.
one moment when I realized that maybe making beats and like this like alter persona, whatever, alter ego, the whole Richard shit was like kind of becoming larger and maybe turning into like its own thing. Was like I was playing some music back in December out like on the street, and there's like some people and this like random guy kind of comes up and he's like, Richard, and I was like, oh what, shit, like wow, like you just called me Richard, you didn't call me Tall, you know, that's weird. But that was pretty crazy for me. And then I was like, damn, that's tight, like there's people out here, just like some random guy walking on the street, you know, who knew about this shit. I don't know. Yeah.